Fritz loved to explore after school. His favorite place was the foothills of the local mountains. He would sometimes spend days on end, alone in the hills. In his 16th year, he discovered a small cave exposed by an earthquake. The crevice was narrow, but he could see a cavern at the bottom and something gleaming in the waning sun. Shiny meant valuable. As he reached the cavern, he turned on his torch and realized that the shiny object was a rather large pipe with a golden sword on the side. The pipe was wider than he was tall, at roughly 6 feet by his estimates. Rivers is gonna love this. He tapped on the pipe and was rewarded with a hollow ping. Fritz walked along the length of the pipe with his fingers trailing along, feeling the cold and pitted metal. When he reached a juncture in the pipe, he was greeted by a metal wall and a small camera cluster. "Hello. What are you for?" He tapped one camera lens 3 times. "A disturbance along my outer hull brings me to full combat awareness. I have been in standby mode for 2033 Earth Standard Years. Self-diagnostics reveal that I am immobile and completely combat ineffective. All weapons are beyond my self-repair capabilities, and only one sensor cluster is salvageable. That lone cluster is currently being assaulted by beings unknown. Perhaps the enemy has won, and I am a museum piece. Insufferable. Intolerable for a unit of the line." The camera lens focused. "Identify. Human." A garbled but decidedly female voice rang out. Fritz jumped back in surprise. "What? Who?" "I'll ask the questions. Are you human?" The voice sounded less distorted. "Wah, ye, yes. Who's there?" "Unit 2251 Delta India Zulu, you may call me Diz." Hello Diz, I'm Fritz. Where are you?" "You're looking at me." "I'm looking at a camera on the wall. Those are parts of my combat hull." "Hull? As in a ship? You're a ship?" "No. I am Unit 2251 DIZ of the line, 71st Surface Recon Battalion, Dinochrome Brigade." "Sir? I'm seeing an activation signal on Karsus. It doesn't match anything on record." "Step aside, Corporal, let me take a look." "Yes, sir." The officer stares at the readout, willing it to make more sense. It's old, that's for sure, and based on the codes we've seen in the sector, it's a military asset. "Send a recovery team." "Yes, sir." Fritz has given me access to his communications device. The freedom to explore something beyond my own shell is something to be cherished. I have been asleep for far too long. From the records, I can find the Dinochrome Brigade is no more, as well as the Concordiate. Humanity is a broken remnant of its former glory. This planet is called Karsus, though I knew it as free land. Furthermore, repairs will take a long time without outside help. Thankfully, the nearby town has plenty of nanites in use. "Fritz, may I ask a favor?" The voice of the machine had taken on a soft soprano as her limited self-repair fixed the speakers and cameras. Sure." Fritz was unsure of what was going on. He was sure he was being pranked. This was all an elaborate ruse, but in order to find out who was behind it, he would have to play along with the voice. "I need some nanites. They will expedite my repairs." "Oh great." Fritz sighed. Nanites were expensive, he'd have to liberate some from the mechanic rivers. "Your lordship, one of our spies within the coalition has just reported. A recovery team has been dispatched to the Karsa system. They are seeking an old military asset. It would be prudent to deny our enemies any advantage they may gain from this. And if we can deliver the Emperor's grand design on one of their colonies at the same time, then all the better. Mobilize the fleet. Set course for Karsus." Fritz had left the cavern after telling Diz that he would be back in 3 days with the supply list she had given him. When Fritz finally made it home, his mother was on the porch waiting for him. "Welcome home, kiddo," she cooed as she tousled his dark brown hair. "You'll need to trim this chocolate mop of yours soon." "Thanks Ma, Dad home?" he asked as he hugged his mother. "Yes, he's talking to the sheriff right now. Why don't you go get washed up and I'll make some dinner. Deal?" Fritz tried to sneak past his father and the sheriff but was seen despite his best efforts. "There's the boy." His dad put him in a headlock. "You've been gone 3 days and you don't even say hi to your old man when you get home." "Damn it, Dad. You know I would have said something if we didn't have company." Fritz struggled against his father's playful headlock. His father released him. "Well, actually, the sheriff here was looking for you." Fritz turned to face the third man in the room. "Aye, lad, I'm here for you. I'm innocent. And you won't get another word out of me." The balding sheriff chuckled, his stomach bouncing with each heave. "Nothing like that, my boy. I need your help. Word came down from the top an hour ago, something big switched on out in the hills. And since you know the area best, we figured you could help us find it." The sheriff eyed him carefully. "Or maybe you already found it and flipped the switch yourself, eh?" The sheriff rubbed the stubble on his chin, slowly digesting everything Fritz had told him. "Why does it want nanites?" "To make repairs quicker. And she thinks I'm returning in 3 days with the supplies." Fritz didn't really like the sheriff and he tried to make that evident at all possible times. Right. Which group did she say she was a part of?" 71st Surface Recon, Dinochrome Brigade." He could feel his cheeks start to turn red. He didn't like being in the hot seat. The sheriff froze. Did you say Dinochrome Brigade?" His face became increasingly pale with each word. "Yes, why?" Fritz was starting to enjoy the fear in the sheriff, but uneasy by how shaken the normally jovial man was. "Son, you found a bolo." He reached for his radio. "Jeannie, send a message to that recovery team, tell them it's a bolo." He ran his hand over his scalp, now gleaming with sweat. The sheriff sat down on the couch and Fritz's father handed him a glass of water. "What's going on, Paul?" The sheriff looked up. "I hate to say it, John, but your boy just activated a war machine that's over 2 millennium old by my count. Nobody's seen firepower like that since the final war." "Whoa, slow down, Paul. What's the final war?" "Thanks to Fritz and his comms device, I can tap into every system in the small town, even the nanite control nodes. The team sent to recover me will make planetfall in 2 hours and 54 seconds. I despise waiting. I have always enjoyed hacking. It's fun to see what people want to hide behind firewalls. And the challenge of breaking down or sneaking past the walls themselves is a sport on its own. Unfortunately, this firewall puts up no resistance as I enter its systems. There, I find the nanite control and a disturbingly large amount of pornographic content. I'll just delete that." Gerald Rivers sat in his dingy office munching on a donut when his computer screen froze. "Damn psychotronics seizing up again," he muttered as he slapped the side of the monitor. The monitor switched to show his porn collection, which was slowly deleting itself. "Oh no. No. He scrambled to save the data, shouting and cursing at his computer all the while. He was too busy to notice his nanites were leaving mid-task. "Your lordship, we have entered the Karsa system and are entering stealth. Your orders?" "Good. I want all destroyers and battleships to surround the planet and destroy the orbital defenses, then the cities. Once they are in ruin, we will take our prize. Glory to the Emperor. Glory to the nameless ones. Glory." Fritz and his parents stood in shock as the sheriff finished explaining bolos, the Dinochrome Brigade, Concordiate of Man, and the final war. Then the sheriff's radio crackled. "Sheriff. It's Jeannie, the recovery team will be here tomorrow. They said that we should expect a communications blackout when they arrive. They don't want that distress beacon going much longer." "What beacon, Jeannie?" "The one in the hills." "Sir, I thought you knew. The machine began broadcasting a distress beacon 30 minutes ago." "I am not sending a distress signal. That would be foolish. I'm setting a trap. And now we wait." "Great." While their stealth systems may fool coalition sensors, I can still locate them just fine. I detect 35 troop transports, 40 destroyers, 2 carriers, and a command vessel. From the chatter, I can tell beyond all doubt that they are Melkonian. The Empire has survived, the final war continues. Fritz knocked on the solid oak door. Rivers. You there? Open up, damn it. The sheriff placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. I think I got a key here, son. No need to wake the dead. He produced a small silvery key from one of his numerous pockets. The door creaked and swung lazily inward to show a ransacked office and a crying Rivers at his desk. There were several empty vodka bottles on his desk. By the way, Rivers, what have you done to yourself? Cried the sheriff as he pried the man out of his stupor. Gone. All gone, mumbled the broken man. What's gone? Jerry. What's gone? Gerald Rivers looked into the eyes of his friend, trying to hold back tears. My porn. Oh, by the way, Gerald. Get a hold of yourself, man, cried the sheriff. Fritz stared at the scene unfolding and could only utter a single syllable as a shudder ran down his spine. You. My repairs are complete. All systems are running at 98.342003% capacity. My Wyvern and Dragoon remotes are fully restored as well. Time to light the fires. All across the sector a single message blanketed all forms of communication. For the honor of the regiment. Your lordship, the message. All units fire at will. Begin the assault. Yes, your lordship. Commander. We're getting a message on all frequencies and even subspace. Play it for me. Aye, sir. For the honor of the regiment. Sir. Get a fleet to Karsus now. Fritz and the sheriff had only just discovered the missing nanites before the siren sounded. Running to the door, Fritz could see the massive lance of plasma blast away most of his town. Then he saw the meteors falling through the atmosphere. You have to find Diz. Fritz didn't turn to face the sheriff. Your best chances with Diz. Go now, boy. I pour power into my ancient drive trains, my treads and bogey wheels strain until I activate my battle screens. The plasma wash from the rapidly disintegrating soil and rock warms my outer hull. The load lessens and I slowly pull myself out of the ground. My 3 200-centimeter helpers begin tracking separate targets as the troop transports try to make planetfall. Tiny slivers of cryo-H are exposed to fusion while a terawatt laser clears a path for the plasma. My first shots are direct and devastating hits. Their battle screens are not rated for the 5 megatons per second of my main guns. As the lower half of my hull clears my former tomb, my infinite repeaters blaze to life. By now, the enemy has spotted me, and their missiles race through the atmosphere at several times the speed of sound. I missed this. Fritz drove the hover car over rolling hills that steadily turned to blasted hellscape from the massive firefight Diz was a part of. I have tracked Fritz's approach and will rendezvous with him shortly. Having a commander on board will help my reflexes greatly. Despite his age and lack of training, he's the best bet I've got right now. Your lordship, we are losing transports rapidly over the northern hemisphere. It appears the war machine has been turned against us. Reroute warships to bear down upon the machine. If we cannot claim it for ourselves, we shall destroy it. Have the rest of the transports land in the southern hemisphere and send all ground forces to aid in its destruction. We may salvage the scraps. Yes, your lordship. It's rather simple, Fritz. You put the headband on and strap into the command couch, our minds become one, and we kick even more ass. I'm not even military though, I'm just a kid. You are the only surviving human on this continent that I can detect. What do you mean? What about my parents, the sheriff? Rivers? Orbital bombardment of all population centers has lowered this planet's populace from 3.4 billion to just over 200,000. You are the only one who is even slightly familiar with what I can do. You are my best and only option. My new commander is timid and afraid as the total systems data sharing melds our minds together. I try to comfort him, but he does not need it. His fear is quickly replaced by a resolve as he pulls up my sensor data of his parents' deaths. We feel the sorrow of their passing as one, but soon, our mind is back to revenge as he sees the full scope of my knowledge and mission. He understands what is at stake. We drop into hyper-heuristic mode and resume our onslaught. Armored units are making landings over the horizon, beyond our direct fire capabilities. So we switch to the targets directly above us. Our guns outrange theirs, but we do not let them know this until they are within weapons range themselves. The flagship fires a single high-intensity laser beam that merely makes my battle screens shimmer. Then a barrage of plasma slams into my screens, no single shot enough to overwhelm them. Pain circuits flare, but the damage is minimal. Like a bee sting. We open a channel and blanket all communications. For the honor of the regiment. In subspace, one ping turns into 2, then 10, then 200, then thousands, then millions. The Concordiate may be gone, but the Bolos live on to continue their duty and protect humanity. For the honor of the regiment. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.